on supporting the
This conversation now with Kate Maina Volley, who is the country director at Plan International, joining us live on Bottomline Africa. Kate, many thanks for your time. Talk to us a little more about this Girls Takeover campaign, especially in line with the theme of this year's International Day of the Girl.
Thank you very much, and nice to be online with you, Michelle, and to be with KTN. We're always very excited each year as we build up activities to the International Day of the Girl Child, which is on the 11th October. One key thing that we always do every year is to facilitate takeover of leadership positions in various areas and sectors. As you said, this year has been no different. We've done some amazing takeovers, things that we're very excited about. As you said, we were able to take over the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology. We took over the Canadian High Commission. We took over the Denmark High Commission. We also disrupted on Citizen yesterday evening, and we were also at the Swedish Embassy. And today, we also did a takeover with one of our projects that's funded by AstraZeneca. And these opportunities for the girls are profound in many ways. We are being purposeful every year about creating spaces where girls can take over leadership positions. And once they are taking over, they're able to take up things that they identify as injustices and raise, shine a light on some of these issues. So when we facilitate takeover of these girls in leadership positions in various areas and sectors, as I alluded to, that we've done this year, we're trying to send opportunities to girls because they see far too few opportunities of women being depicted in powerful leadership roles. So that's an opportunity. It also sends a very strong message to girls that these platforms do exist and they have an opportunity to lean in and to articulate and raise their voices on issues that they consider are impacting their rights and are injustices to them as girls. This year, the theme for the takeover is freedom online.
Right.
Girls have expressed through a survey that we did. We interviewed 14,000 girls in 22 countries, and girls communicated what experiences they have had as they try to engage online. And we all know, especially with the COVID pandemic, we moved online. Our lives are now online. Of the girls that we surveyed across many countries, 58% of girls surveyed have experienced online harassment. And so these takeovers were an opportunity to shine a light on the issues and the injustices that girls are facing online, but at the same time to give them opportunities to sit in leadership positions and role play and actually push an agenda for girls' rights.
All right, and you had one of your girls there, Mary Goretti, who sat as the CS, Ministry of ICT, for a day and calling out very, forwardly there, denouncing harassment and violence against girls on social media platforms. So the hashtag there is free to be online. What impact has this campaign had so far in terms of the security, the safety of our girls online? This has been, stated or listed as a leading cause of depression and suicide around the globe.
Thank you, Michelle. What has been the impact? I think the fact that we're even having this conversation, we are raising awareness on these issues. The fact that girls are being given these opportunities to take over and to disrupt is beginning a national conversation. And yesterday we had so many people on a show where we were discussing what young people are experiencing, both boys and girls.
Right.
Mental health issues, the loss of confidence and erosion of self-esteem. These are spaces that should be open to both women and men, boys and girls. So we've had impact in terms of raising awareness, and this is just the takeover is just one of a set of series of activities that we have planned as we build up to the day. We also intend to keep this conversation going until the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. We've had some interesting conversations with the Cabinet Secretary himself, Honorable John Musheru, just to discuss what we could do to address these issues, because girls have voiced this directly to him. We've had conversations with the Communications Authority, and yesterday there was a rallying call to create girl and boy-friendly awareness materials on where they can report when they experience online harassment. And indeed a call to action both to government and civil society and to the society as a whole to take this issue seriously. You know, online harassment, online gender-based violence is just as serious as offline gender-based violence.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of activity around this, and a petition actually to sign a letter, which is on our website. And we are building up also to speaking to the heads of Facebook, Twitter and Instagram towards the end of the year, at the end of this month. And 2 girls from Kenya will be joining other girls across other countries around the world to have a meeting with the executives of Facebook and other like-minded social media companies to ask for more accountability and better reporting mechanisms.
Of course, you rightly mentioned with the COVID-19, more and more people are moving online for different reasons, education, entertainment, and what have you. How has this campaign, Girls Takeover, even from previous years, impacted on global action on the rights of girls across the world?
Oh, it's done many things. Last year, this year, we're talking about freedom to be online. Last year, we did a survey around media. We were in a partnership with Gina Davis, and we did a survey similar to what we did this year around how girls are depicted in media. And it started a whole conversation with media companies across the world in terms of what they need to do differently to depict girls and how do we portray girls without sexualizing them. In Kenya in particular, we've had other takeovers in previous years. We had a girl take over the parliament and be a speaker for the day and really pushed for the children's bill to be passed and enacted into law. And because of that advocacy that she did in Parliament, we've seen deliberate steps right through the ministries and right through to the Attorney General's office, where we're hoping the bill will be signed soon. So there are practical things that happen because of this. In previous years, we've advocated for the sanitary towel program in schools, and that culminated in a bill being passed in Parliament where sanitary towels are provided to girls in schools. So we're very proud of the work that the girls, how they lean into these leadership positions and how they use those takeover days to speak about substantive and specific issues that are affecting them as girls.
Absolutely.
And that has translated into policy and it's translated into practice as well.
And let's talk about that policy. Perhaps my last question. Let's get back to the Free to Be Online campaign. I mean, in Kenya, legislation surrounding cybercrime and cybersecurity has been rather grey, in terms of any convictions and prosecutions of cyberbullying. Have we had any policy and legislation come out of this Free to Be Online campaign?
So yesterday, I mean, this is a question that's better directed to the Communications Authority. She did speak out about that. The representative that was on the call, Carol, I believe was her name. She spoke about some of the policies that are in place, some of the legal frameworks that they put in place. But I think the resounding feedback from youth yesterday on Facebook, indeed, we actually had this conversation on Facebook yesterday, was that youth and girls particularly are not aware of this legislation. We don't have clarity on what the specific legislation is. At the same time, we all know we're very good at putting the legislation in place. I think it's also important to strengthen the implementation of these things. So I think the rallying call from yesterday's conversation as part of the build-up of this activity and part of the takeover we had yesterday was that government needs to implement specific legislation to deal with online harassment and to ensure particularly that girls have access to justice so that we treat online harassment just as seriously as we would treat offline harassment. Right, and these policies on internet have to be inclusive as well. Girls need to, they must consult girls. Girls need to be, the voices must be heard, the voices of girls and young women, so that we better understand what their specific requirements are and to ensure that the policies are inclusive. And, she talked about, the Communications Authority talked about a lot of initiatives that are happening on the ground. There's fantastic work going on the ground, but we need to find a way to popularize this initiative so that people are aware of what's happening on the ground and that these initiatives are implemented in a way that supports a safe online environment. So awareness creation on digital citizenship is important so that we're all rallying behind this, freedom to be online.
All right, and I understand ahead of the International Day of the Girl, that is Sunday, the 11th of October, so girls from across the world will be sending an open letter to the major social media companies calling for greater action to be taken against online abuse and harassment. Talk to us about this, open letter. What is it? What are the contents of this letter, and how can anybody standing with girls against gender-based violence online be part of this campaign?
Thank you, Michelle. I was waiting for this moment. The open letter is available on our website, www.plan-international.org. You will see the open letter there, and it's a letter to Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And it speaks about the work we've done, the survey we've done of, representing, we've talked to 14,000 girls, as I said, in 22 countries. So this letter is a representation of what those 14,000 girls have said across those 22 countries that spoke to Plan International about online abuse. And it is urgently asking these 4 companies specifically to end online harassment on their platforms. So the girls are saying, we love your platforms. We don't want to be censored. We don't want to be bullied and harassed and then feel that we have to censor ourselves and then stop engaging on this platforms. We love your platforms. That's what the girls are saying. They're a huge part of their daily lives. And they use them not just to connect with friends, but to lead and create change. And we've seen how on social media can galvanize change in so many spheres of our life. And they're saying these platforms are not safe for them. They're saying they're getting harassed and abused every single day. They feel physically threatened, racially abused, sexually harassed, and body shamed. And so they're saying this is just as serious as offline violence, and it's causing harm to us, and it's silencing the girls' voices. So they're asking them, and they've shared some data. So the letter is not only speaks to that background, it's also shared some data on what the survey said, and it is now asking them to partner with these girls and to take bold steps to make their platforms safer. And yeah, so they're asking for a partnership and for meaningful engagement with these 4 social media companies so that we stop this harassment that's going on.
Thank you for
they want to
speaking to
remain
us,
in those spaces, Michelle. They want to be in those spaces, and they're saying it's time to act now. So we're asking everybody to sign this open letter and lend your voices to these girls. The more people that can sign this letter, the more credibility and authenticity to the data, so that these companies can take this seriously, and that the engagements that the girls will have, including 2 girls from Kenya, will bring that weight behind their voices.
A great initiative there by Plan International. Many thanks for your time. That is Kate Maina Volley, Country Director at Plan International, speaking to us ahead of the International